And we're hot. So up today, we've got Bob's 288 crankcase. And really, it's a super nice day outside, so I don't want to spend tons of time this morning inside. But I happen to have um, this pretty much ready to go. Pulled the seals out. I pulled the bearings out. So we're up and running here. Let me see what we can do here. I need to pull you up here so I can see comments and whatnot. A couple people here already. Who's here? What did I miss? So for those people that are new, welcome. And I just generally put stuff together. So this is not a whole lot of fun to watch later, but a whole lot of fun to watch live. So please join us live and have a lot more fun. So this is a Husqvarna 288, and this is Bob's, and there's Bob right now in chat. So Bob, I got us all cleaned up here. I'm just going to pull these bearings in, pull the crankcase together. The reason I'm doing it this morning is on the off chance we've got some stuff to move around here, so I might see the folks this weekend, which means that I can put this on the Bridgeport and get it decked. I'm still waiting on parts, but if we can get get this decked, then just a matter of putting it together beyond that. So I want to get us to that point. So let's put this bearing, in this case, I've already got some anti-seize on the bearing pocket. I know it's a really nice day and everybody's probably itching to go outside, but figured I'd get this done, you know. These are Natchez 6203s. I highly recommend to people, don't use saws that you can't maintain. You know, why have a saw with something that uses proprietary bearings or whatever? Turns out the 288 here does not use proprietary bearings. These are regular old 6203s. These are Natchez, so these are pretty nice. Pate's Performance. Good morning. I did watch the live. At least most of it. I caught most of it. Great advice. We use Cobalt 40. What did I give you advice? What did I say? You mean about the equipment you can't maintain? Yeah. Use what you can paint. Right. Why would you use something that's complicated? Now, I understand that there are guys that just need to go to the store and pick up something new and have it work, and if it breaks, then you're just going to go back into the store and pick up something new, and just that cycle is going to repeat. So it's not like most people are going to be pulling things apart like I do. But this proprietary stuff drives me crazy. You know, $40 for a bearing, $50 for a bearing, whatever. Come on. Don't be silly. Might as well use regular old bearings if you can use regular old bearings. And this is not a light duty chainsaw. This is a Husky 288. These are absolutely performance oriented, professional grade chainsaws. is not some. These are used for heavy duty West Coast felling. You know. Oh yeah, that's going in beautiful. I don't even need to reorient it. This one's just going to go down perfect. A little bit of crunchies, which is fine. This is going to go down until it stops. That's it. Yeah, you know, a lot of guys don't use their stuff. But I think you should support products that, if at all possible, that you can maintain. The other nice thing about this particular saw is it's got the same, not just the same bearing on either side, but the same seals. I'll show you. It really, that type of stuff is the things that make me happy, you know. What makes Dr. Matt happy? That would make Dr. Matt happy. I want to see the same bearing on both sides and the same seal on both sides. Stock one part, you know, as opposed to different bearing, different. Come on, this is all silly. There's no need to. When they first came out with the 181, which is the same crankcase essentially as this, they actually had a 6202 on this side, which is a stock bearing. But why would you put a different side? I understand that it doesn't necessarily need to be as heavy duty as a 6203, but there really isn't a price differential. For all intents and purposes, there really isn't a price differential, unless you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of units. But then you're also talking about designing the crankcase differently. So then you have design costs that are different. Yeah, make it the same. Okay. Let's put that off to the side for just a minute. This one is a bit of a different ballgame. And the reason is because the oiler, basically you pull it in and up against the oiler. So let's look at the oiler. Now, the one bugaboo on this saw is this O-ring. You got to change them out. You just got to. Now, luckily, I not only have a replacement, but this replacement is a stock O-ring. You do not have to spend $5 a shot at Husky. Please do not do that. I have the part number right here. I will get that for you. As a reference, everybody can go back and look at this. I think I got these at McMaster-Carr, but I don't remember. Either way, the size 1.6 by 37.1 Buna N nitrile. 37.1 would be the inner diameter. 1.6 is the cross-sectional dimension. So if you get a O-ring like that, you got it. Now, so don't spend $5 a piece from Husky. You can get these in a pack of 50 or 100 for $5 or $10. If you're going to be maintaining 288s, then that's perfect. Okay. Let's pop this seal out. Which you need to do anyway. Got a big socket. Just gotta tap this out. Old seal. It's all hard. Yeah, get rid of it. Just want to clean up the crusties, that's all. Now I'm not going to put the O-ring on yet, but I do want to install this in the crankcase temporarily. Because this is something you can actually pull up against. Three oiler bolts. Gotta keep everything organized down here. It's really difficult. What happens is you end up with too many projects going all at the same time. It just is brutal. Let's get fresh fish paper here. I think it was Ken that called this fish paper. Whatever. Clean surface, that's better. Okay. I was doing a little bit of sanding on the cylinder head earlier, just to kind of get it prepped. So 3mm. They don't have to be tight, just there. Good enough. So now we have a surface to pull the bearing to. You can do this hot, you can do it cold, whatever you like. I'm going to do these cold. Now the one thing about doing it hot is if you really heat this up, get the bearing to drop in, you might bugger the oiler. So you might consider using an old oiler to do that. I just put it in a little bit, get it to line up, so it's not going to get cockeyed. Sometimes they do kind of slip out of proper orientation. It makes it a little, then you just got to back off your, this stuff here. Just some threaded rod, some nuts, some washers, 1/2-inch threaded rod. This is nothing fancy. It's just a jig to help pull the bearings in. You can do this with an arbor press. You can do this, again, with heat if you feel like it. I don't really feel like breaking out the torch, so. That is just a little off. Hey, Bob. My kids are driving the wife crazy. Yeah, that's their job. Still not quite right. Almost. Done. Perfect. Oiler's going to come out. And we'll work on putting the oiler in after we've got the crankcase together. So now I can put this stuff away. So I've already hit this with brake cleaner and cleaned this up pretty good. So let's pull this crank now into the bearing. Now shine this up with some Scotch-Brite. A little bit of oil, not much. If you like, you can do it dry too. So anybody that's interested in a toolkit to do this, I do sell these. I heard from my machinist last night. They were anticipating working on the rods early this week. It did not happen. I will get an update on Sunday to see exactly what happened and what's going on. There was as I understand it, my machinist had a bit of a personal issue. So rod goes in, sleeve goes on, handle. Super simple. The benefit to this is you're going to do this completely at room temperature. No heating things up, no cooling things down, no waiting for something in the freezer. You don't need strength. You don't need speed. You get this crank halfway in there and you get a phone call and you go take it. It's okay. You can do this speedy if you like. I'm going to pull the crank all the way until it stops. The bearings are positioned correctly in the crankcase, which is most important. Have to have the bearings positioned proper. There's your positive stop. So another thing is this leaves this hand free to guide the connecting rod. So now we can reverse this. Pull this all apart, and this is all loosey-goosey. It should just come off loosey-goosey. Aside for the moment. Let me get the other one going. Goop this one up, 1184. Again, this has all been degreased. Don't need to bring the 1184 all the way out here. Give it a tack or two if you want, but you're not sealing anything out there. I like to tap it. It creates this really nice patina. And then it just kind of all levels out. We're going to let that tack for a minute. That's getting going. Now we're going to go back over here to the PTO side and do this one. The reason I do the flywheel side first is to just get that to tack up a little bit more than this side, because the flywheel side is where I put the gasket. Tack. No harm in letting this set for 10 minutes. It really works just fine if you let it set for a while. There's no particular hurry. I don't like to let it set for that long, but still. Okay. Blue Loctite. positioning pins. Very important. New old stock OEM gasket kit. Okay. We're tacked, we're gooped, we're good. Now I'm going to get flywheel side rod. There, loosey-goosey fit. Let's get a sleeve. And a handle. Back it off a little bit. Now this, ooh, almost made a mistake. Don't want to do that. Large bearings, large sleeve. These are 6203, so these are good sized bearings. Anything smaller than a 6203, use a small sleeve here. Loosey-goosey's okay. Nice to have a ratcheting wrench on this if at all possible. And you just crank it down. Easy. Now, when you get within spitting distance of those positioning pins, you gotta make sure they're lined up. How's it going, Tim? A lot of tourism today? Okay. It is funny. I mean, I went out to the post office this morning. It's plenty busy out on the roads and whatnot. People are out and about. I don't know about this lockdown stuff. People are definitely out and about. So again, that's pretty much it. Take this apart. I'm going to put some case bolts in here. One, two, forget. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't have one here, so it's just 4 case bolts. One back here. Just use very generic M5 screw for that. Remember, those are going to get hand tightened. Now, we also have the dog bolts. Good squeeze out. We have the dog bolts with the dog. Now, I got somewhere a brand new dog here for this. Labeled steel. Thinks I'm crazy. Look at that. I shouldn't have Loctited these, but whatever. Won't matter. Pull them back out anyway. I'm going to have to pull this back off when I do the muffler because of the muffler bracket. But we'll get it in here just to make sure the case seals good, you know. Okay, double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good. Take off this with the razor here. Look at that. Very nice. Hit this with some 2-cycle oil. Okay. Smooth. Okay, let's get to the oiler. I'm going to put the oiler in, the seal's in. Once we have that, you get squish. Once you have squish, I'm going to call it a day. But plenty to do between now and then. I'm going to pull apart this oiler. Pull the adjuster out here. Nine people here. Who else is here? This is the holder or whatever. That comes out pretty good. Sometimes you got to use heat to get these out. And there's rubber O-rings. There's a rubber O-ring on that, so you got to be careful. Now this piece here you have to kind of wedge out sometimes. Dirt and crap in here. Antibiotics is here? Okay. Anybody here I haven't given a shout out to? I have a sneaky suspicion that the algorithm did not send out notifications. Let's twist it. It will not twist. There's my other screwdriver. This probably won't fit in there. No. This might. Nope. Yeah, sometimes I'm actually able to go in there, push it. Today, I have to break out the heat. So I want to pull this plug out so I can actually clean it. Hit it inward. If I get movement at all, then I can hopefully get some oil around there to get it to move. Should literally fall out though. We're using the heat. Now, right now, there's no rubber pieces in here that are going to be severely affected, so I don't need to worry about it as much. There, moved. Okay. twist it, get the oil in there. There. It's not threading out, it's just, it's on a spring, so it should just literally fall out. It's really all you need to do, and give it a spray and clean it. Put that down for a second. It's hot. Just give the pieces a good once over here. Oil. So Bob, your oiler has been taken apart and put back together. How's that?
Are you live?
Yeah. Woo! That's actually how it's supposed to fall apart. You know what? There we go. That goes in. This slides in easy. We can clean this up good. That way there's actually adjustment to the oiler. Pack that in grease. Just because I feel like it. Adirondacks, thanks. Take care. So now it's got adjustment to it. Now we can put our O-ring on. Perfect. Put our seal in. If you want, you can do some Loctite 518 on this, which I will do. And I'm also going to put the seal installer here. This is the install sleeve from Husky. You can use a piece of Coke can as well. Take that out for the moment. You can just knock it on home if you want. Just make sure it goes in even. Now, stock, these come so they're not flush. I put this in flush. I don't see why not. Betty, these two saws haven't seen the light of day in years, nor human interaction. Yeah, I understand. Bob, by the way, I went to the post office this morning. So your stuff is on its way. Very nice. Brand new small O-ring here. The X-ring, quad ring. Yeah, they said Wednesday it's showing up. I'm not going to tell you what the bill was on that. Because I know your wife is watching. But I will show you. Am I going to break out the tiller? It's a little wet. I would love to go do some tilling. Because that garden scratcher needs to be worked, you know. But I would love to do some tilling. Don't think I'm going to break out my scrubs to do some tilling, though. I might. might. If it's laundry day, then maybe, Go can hope. Yeah, I know. A lot of hope going around. Anyway. Chris, I am pretty sure you are about the only lady around that's even remotely close to hoping for something like that. So, so yeah, I know. My real worry is about the cherries. So I'm not sure how bad the frost did them in, and how much the rain has affected the pollination. Those are the two real concerns right now. So, a couple of weeks from now, we'll have a better idea of what actually has taken and what hasn't, Okay, so the seal installer. Grease on here. Loctite, new O-rings, 1184. Yeah, I'd just by looking at them, I think about half of them got frosted out. The nice thing is that half of a batch is still a lot. And you lose some anyway. I mean, there's never, 100% yield. Little 518 there to help the O-ring a little bit. So you're all gooped up. Ready to go here. Set that on down. Before I do that, one thing. Just gonna check. Just brake cleaner and make sure the oiler actually works. Not gonna work with brake cleaner. It's fine. It's fine. It's all together right. It's fine. Okay. Squish. Okay. One, two. That seal installer just helps this go over the lip, and it really does help a lot. Because it makes it so that you don't prolapse the seal. And if you guys watch Terrell, you'll know that he prolapses seals all the time. Don't do that. Use a piece of Coke can or a seal installer so you do not have that stupid spring that gets buggered, Son of Liberty, 84, thanks for the content. Welcome. Pull out the installer. Perfect. That's perfect. if you have any questions, feel free. Some days we're busy around here. Some days we're not. So I'm fine with questions. Yeah, I mean, questions, go for it. That's kind of the idea of live, is that I can answer things, and it's easier for me to answer things live than it is to answer an email sometimes, because if I'm just on my phone or whatever, I can't type very well with my phone. But also, the other nice thing about answering questions live is other people get the benefit of the question, Heck, I get the benefit of the question. You know what I mean? Okay, that's as far as I'm going to take this direction, because I have to deck this, and this is going to be clamped to the Bridgeport, so I'm not going to put the drum on and everything right now. What a mess here. Let's get this fixed. I gotta get the seal in here, and then we'll get it squished, and then we'll call it a day, I think. Yeah, so I'm really hoping for the cherries. I mean, last year we had like 2 pounds of cherries because it was so wet. There was just zero pollination. The year before that, I think we had about 100 pounds. The year before that was pretty good. That was like 120 pounds of cherries. But really, like, the cherries are at a point now where 300 pounds of yield is not out of the question. Just put a new meteor cylinder on 266. Upgraded a 52 millimeter board. Did not vacuum test and wonder if I have to. Did you split the crankcase on that? See, I already knew the answer to the question, but I asked it anyway. So the answer, I mean, my first thought would be, if you did not split the crankcase, why did you not split the crankcase? Number one. Number two, why did you put a new head and piston and whatnot on that saw? What was the original diagnosis for it needing a new head and piston? So those are 2 thoughts right off the bat. Yeah, the oiler removes the seal, as does the flywheel part. There's an O-ring as well on that. And actually, let me do you a solid here, and I'll get you the part number. And I did a thread on O-ring substitutions. So these O-rings are for the 266, 268, 272. They're the same on both sides. Some of those saws have them on both sides, some of them don't. But 1.6 by 29.1 millimeter, usasealing.com, 1.6 by 29.1 millimeter. These you can get in a bag of 100 for like $10. So you don't need to get the OEM Husky stuff for like $5 at O-ring. That's stupid. McMaster Car might have them too. Oh, James showed up. How's it going? The piston and cylinder were badly scored. Yes, but why were they scored? but I'm not thinking right now. Not thinking. Not really sure why. So I'm gonna. This one's gonna hurt. Okay, buddy. This one's gonna hurt. Why the devil would you stick and waste your money on a new head if you didn't know the actual reason for what happened? If you don't have a diagnosis, this is a very chronic and common question. It's a common problem for a lot of people, and it's the same story over and over again. Hey, I went and put a brand new head on this because the old one was scored. Yeah, but did you actually figure out why the old one was scored? No. Okay, well, then the same darn thing is just going to happen all over again. You know what I mean? It was a gift, so it may have been, yeah, but again, we still don't know why. If the that's an expensive, I don't know. Not to mention your time. Let me get a Q-tip. I'll be right. This is an important topic. This is a super important topic because this is a very, very, very common problem. Lots of people look at a head and say, "Hey, it's scored." Slap a new head on there. That is not something you want to be doing unless you just feel like wasting your money. Now, here's the one exception. One exception would be new saw, somebody straight gasses it. But you have a diagnosis. You know exactly why it died, right? So don't be like everybody else. You know, don't be like the usual guy that just goes in there and says, "Hey, got a scored head. Gonna put a new head on it." And then what happens? Then the next thing that happens, and this is just again a very usual common thing, is that the aftermarket parts company that you bought the head from gets blamed that it was a bad head. You know what I mean? And that's just simply not the case. It might have been a bad head, but that's not usually the cause of the scoring. Camera looks out of focus, sorry. Your point is, right, is there testing I can do without the pump? Well, I wouldn't do the testing. Yes, you can, but here's the next problem. The next problem is that your seals are old. A 266 is an old saw. That's like 30 years old. Great saw, but 30 years old. So think about it like that and say, okay, the other way to look at it is it needs new bearings and seals. It's 30 years old. Take it apart, do it right, put it back together, and then that head has some hope of being okay. You know, a new carburetor. If the carburetors are all gummed up, that could be a reason why it was lean. You know, but then you have a better likelihood of having it be completely sealed when you put it back together. I've done 266s, so you have my videos to follow. don't have to do it blind, you know. The thing with 30-year-old seals is that 30-year-old seals, they might actually feel okay, but when they heat up, they get much harder and then they open up effectively. So you end up having leaks. Yeah, you can get a pump, get a test kit. I do a lot less testing than maybe I should, because vac testing drives me crazy. Often it's a waste of time, and the amount of time it takes me to do a vac test, I can pull seals and have fresh seals in there, you know. On the other hand, sometimes it makes a whole lot of sense to do a vacuum test. Old saws need to have bearings and seals before any new parts. Yeah, so, you know, people just want to take these old saws and just go run them. No, it doesn't really work like that. You do got to work on them before you go run them. And then the thought, you know, that if you're not capable of working on that saw, don't run it. There's the next conclusion of that. Please don't run it. It's a nice saw. Put it on the shelf until you get to the point where it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. I can go rebuild this. You know what I'm saying? Right now I'm moving this like tenths of millimeters. Somewhere close to 4 millimeters deep all around usually works. As long as it's over that main lip, it's good. Okay. Now let's get a squish number. Again, switch points. I'm an amateur. I've self-taught Mecca where I'm hesitant in the only way. Yeah, get in and do it. The 266 is a great saw to get in and just do. They're also getting harder to find parts, though. 266s are just getting trickier and trickier to get parts for. So keep that in mind. And I mentioned this at the beginning today, was, you know, have equipment that you can maintain. Can you get parts for X, Y, or Z, whatever you're doing, you know? If you can't, then it might not be a piece of equipment for you. If you're a hobbyist or a collector, that's one thing. But if you ain't a collector, why are you using stuff that you can't get parts for? See what I'm saying? Believe me, you get that 266 right and running, it is a very nice saw. Right, so what I'm doing here, I'm working on these saws for Bob, but you can ask Bob how much it costs to have these done. just in parts. Ignore the labor. The parts is considerable. And you can these 288s you can get parts for. Some of the older stuff you can't. Makes life a lot harder. And even some of these that you can get saws for free and still have paid too much. You know what I mean? There are definitely saws that I've worked on, that I've rebuilt and whatnot, that if I had gotten them for free, it still would have been too much money. And I love resurrecting trash saws. I do it all the time. You guys can see it. Seriously, get holes from 372 and upgrading the bearings. Yes, I do have videos on that too. If you're gonna do a Hustle kit, I think the 660 is definitely the best bang for buck. Like the Cyclone sitting in his driveway. Oh God. Yeah. All I'm gonna do now is get a squish number. That's all we're going for here. Yeah, Tim's point, is to test it with some brake cleaner, and see if you get things to the idle to change. It's a good point, Tim. Poor man's test kit effectively is some brake cleaner. I wasn't at the point of wasting money to make a mistake. I can screw with a saw I value less and learn the detachment of these saws. Didn't want trial and error. Yeah. So, yeah, there's all kinds of reasons to do saws. For some people, it's not about the money. For some people, it's about having a saw that their dad had or whatever, their grandfather had. Personally, for me, I'm not necessarily sentimental about these type of things. I just like. I like having maintainable pieces, and I like other people having maintainable pieces. I helped my dad get rid of one of the most collectible saws out there, a Homelight 750. He had one that worked, was rebuilt, but for our purposes, what my dad and I use it for, forget it. It's it's not going to work. No chain, no chain brake. Is that something I want to be using? Is that something I want my dad to be using at this point? Nope. Just the Woodruff key there. Now I can get a squish number. And once I get this, I'm good. I can go take this down to the folks and get this decked. With a froze piston. Yeah, I think you can't even get the pistons anymore. You might be able to get a bunch of other stuff on there, but you can't get the pistons. I have to use some 60,000 solder because this is a little bigger than that. Okay, 25 and 8 is 33. 25 and 8 is 33. So I need to take off 13 thousandths in order to have a 20,000 squish. So mark it right here. 0.013, which is not much, but Bob wants pop. We'll get pop. No, it won't be a head slapper. Okay, we have a squish number. I can now pull the head off. Head off, get the piston off. Sorry, I got a buddy that's texting me. Okay. And put this back here so we don't lose it. That Woodruff key's in there, that's not going anywhere. Put all this stuff with the gasket here back in Bob's box. Now I can take this down to the folks and get it decked. Once it's decked, I'll come back and we'll put the rest of it together. Maddie, if you had to name one saw you let go, sold it, and regret it, what would it be? thinking. It's a good question. I'm still thinking. Do I regret selling any of them? No. uh, the nice 288 I just sold, that was really nice. I'm sure I lost money on that deal. That was a really, really nice saw. Overall, the 266 that I sold to Brian and Ryan, I sold that. That was pretty nice. That was a nice little piece. Fun little runner. I've sold a lot, so I'm happy with what I have, so I don't really regret selling a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, Tim, I've heard that about the 330s. I've definitely heard that. So I gotta go. I gotta call my buddy, talk to him, and yeah, that's pretty much that. So I will catch you guys later. We'll work on this as soon as possible, Bob. Very excited to get this done for you. This is gonna turn out pretty nice. So, especially nice new top cover. New this, new that. It's gonna be good. Everybody, thanks so much. Sons of Liberty, I'll say best of luck. You know if you're not feeling comfortable working on something, don't go halfway. Don't do that. Go go full bore if you can, and I'm here to help. I've got all the videos. Watch the videos, go through them, take notes, and then you can ask questions. You know what I mean? So everybody, have a great day, nice day, beautiful day. Enjoy it, and we will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye bye. Be safe. Thanks, James.